You're listening to Melissa Gorga on Display with me, Melissa Gorga, on Podcast One.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
The graphics are so real on this video game console I bought with the savings from switching to Progressive 10 years ago. I can't tell what's real and what's the game, which I think is what people want, in the future, which it is currently.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
All right, guys, I'm really excited for this one. As you guys probably know, we've made it through the first half of season 1 of Melissa Gorga on Display. Thank you so much for all listening, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. So I thought, why not do a best of episode and share some clips of some of my favorite interviews so far this season. So let's get this party rolling. She's feisty, and she had a lot of things to say about her exit from the Housewives franchise. Ladies and gentlemen, Tamra Judge. Wait, talk to me. Is life a little different since Bravo? Like, how are you? What's going on in life? How's Eddie, that hottie?
Eddie is good. So when I pulled myself out of my 1-year depression.
No, because I want to know this. Because listen, someone like me who's been on for a while, am I going to fall into a depression when it ends? Talk to me.
You know what? How long have you been on? You've been on a long time.
12 years, 11 years.
Okay. So I was on 12 years. Wasn't really expecting it. And when it happened, I just burst into tears, and I'm like, oh my God,
chills.
Yeah,
I feel that.
Because it was, it was a big part of my life. I started when my kids were tiny. Now they're all I only have one left in the house now.
Right.
And you know what I miss the most is just the crew.
And just
the crew, they're in your house first. We always have pretty much the same crew year after year.
So
you get to know them. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm not filming. My life has completely changed. When you film, you're filming, then the editing, and then you're doing press, and then you're going to New York, and you're doing all these things. And before you know it, you start all over. So you're constantly busy. And then it got to a point where I'm like, fuck, what do I do now? What do I do now? What am I going to do with my life now? And plus it just hurt. It hurt. I'm like, and then Andy called me.
Blindsided by it? Did you have any idea that was going to happen?
None.
Do you sometimes blame it on, so I say the OGs have to be careful, all of them, because the salaries are higher than the rest.
Yeah.
And sometimes that has a lot to do with it. Right or wrong?
Right. But you know what? If there was an issue with the salary and I was still performing, talk to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Talk to me. We could work something out. But, it is what it is. And I've had, I obviously went through a process, and it wasn't a full year, but it was really, I got knocked to my ass. And then I was sad, and then I was mad, and then I was, speaking out, and then I was shutting up. I didn't know what to do. And now I'm at a place where, everything happens for a reason. Life is good. Do I miss it? Yeah, I miss it. But you know what? I have so many great things in my life, and my husband, my kids, my businesses, all these things, and life goes on. It's one of those things that it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Right. Well, it's eventually going to, do you know, Joe has conversations with me about this all the time because he worries about it. Actually, he says you are so wrapped up with exactly what you said. It's a cycle of life. It's literally your career. So yes, we are on a reality TV show, but this is our life. We get up, we know we have press, we have this, we have that, we have to, there's it's a cycle. And when that gets taken from you and it literally takes up most of your life and half of your schedule, and you're sitting there and your kids are older, you're not home with little babies anymore. Yeah. Joe worries. He's like, what's going to happen? Are you going to fall into a depression when this happens, when the show ends? You might, right?
Yeah.
She said, you will.
You will. I will. Because I've talked to so many girls that have gotten let go have reached out to me, and they're like, and they're sad, and we're talking about it. And it's one of those things where you let go and they let go of you, and then nobody talks to you.
It's just like, boom, you were here and now you're gone.
Bye. Wow. It's kind of like like a marriage breaking up. And then you just, you have to say goodbye to the family and everybody. And it's like, oh, so it is what it is. I've always kept a pretty strong friendship with Andy Cohen. So we still chat and talk. And I did the girls trip, and I don't know. There's a lot of buzz. Oh, you're going to be back. You're going to be back. But I'm not banking on it or counting on it or worrying about it.
If they asked you to come back to OC, you would come? You would definitely do it.
Well, it'd have to be a family decision at this point, because Eddie was kind of excited
not to have the cameraman in his house all day but for the peace.
And I think like if it was one of those things where like, listen, take a couple of years off, enjoy life, you'll come back, I would have been like, yes, that would be great. But, I don't know. Who knows? There's they did ask me to come do a couple scenes this season this season.
Really? Did you do them?
I didn't.
Why? I want to see you pop in with all these people that I don't know as well.
Because I feel like I'm not a side bitch. Like I'm like all in or nothing.
I understand that. You know what I mean? I understand that. I always said if at this stage in the game they came to me and said, okay, we're going to keep you around, but you'll be a friend of, I would say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for everything. Yeah. Like, just because it's too much stress to be a friend of, to be honest. It's like, you're either all in or that's how I personally feel about it. Like I would take that as my farewell.
Yeah. I mean, any career that I'm in or job that I have or business that I own, like I'm 100% all in. And I wouldn't be able to be that person that just goes, I would, me, like I can't get my mouth shut and I get involved. Can't. And another thing is like, you go in for, a episode or whatever, a scene, and then everybody can talk crap about you. You don't have a voice after that. You're not seen again. They can do their interviews. I'm not going to do an interview. I'm not getting paid for that. So I don't know. At first I was going to do it. And Eddie's like, think about that. Just think about it. You're worth more than that.
I agree. I feel like you're not a half-assed kind of girl. You're not. You're I'm not. Full throttle. You have passion. You're the most perfect housewife in every which way when it comes to like surprise them, take it left when everyone's going right. That's Tamara. That's truly you. I've watched you do that for years. We've watched you go through, we know so much about you. I have girlfriends that will reference you sometimes when which I won't say any names, but we'll be talking about like other girlfriends. Yeah. And like, she's totally having her Tamara Judge moment. Like she's realizing that she's being controlled and she wants out of this marriage. And like, my cousin will reference you. She's like, oh no, she's totally having her Tamara Judge moment. Like, it's funny because you're another one that we really watched you transition in life and go from that marriage that was kind of falling apart in front of all of us that so many women can relate to, that they're scared to get out of, and you keep getting pulled back. And that to me, let me just tell you, those days when, and I, forgive me, but when Gretchen came on and it was like, who's the hottest? And like, Tamara's like, I'm the best years of my life watching reality television. I am sorry. That was to me with Gretchen and the hair and her big hair and like, the pageanty big thing.
Outfits. Yeah.
Yes. And like the older man and like you just saying it what it was. And like, hey girl, I'm still going to be, I died. Like that was great TV. That's when I fell in love with all of y'all. That was like amazing. That was great TV. Do you miss that?
Now. I don't miss those days because I'm not a big fan of hers, but
do you talk to her? No, you don't talk to her.
No.
Okay.
No.
I wasn't sure. I don't know.
No.
Okay.
There's definitely, I get sad sometimes, like right now on the podcast, we're recapping all the housewife shows. And of course, Orange County's on right now. So I was telling Teddy the other day, I said, sometimes I get a little sad. Like I go down a rabbit hole, like, and just be like, oh, that was my show. Now I'm talking about it as if I am,
I get that. I get
spectator.
That. I feel like you've always been so close with Andy. I know that you guys had a good relationship. Did you ever just be like, just say like, why? Like, why? Do you get a good answer as to why?
I haven't. Well, we had a conversation right after and he called me or he texted me. He said, listen, call me when you want to talk and we'll talk about this. And so we talked and we shared a lot. And I did say like, what's this about? And he's like, listen, he goes, they want to go in a different direction right now. See how it works. You'll be back. He goes, think about how, excited the viewers are going to be when you do come back.
Next up, we have a little clip from my time with Michael Rappaport. He is hysterical.
Like I was telling my wife, I was like, I'm doing your podcast. And she was excited. And I was like, how could I ever not do a Gorga's fucking podcast? Any Gorgas I've met, Gorgas that aren't in your family, because you guys, you and Joe and your entire family have given me so much joy week after week, year after year. And I mean, Jersey is the Real Housewives of New Jersey is such a part of, like, it's like comfort food for me. Like, you guys deliver every single time. Every time. Other shows, they could really be kick-ass and then they could get boring, but just, you guys are just so funny and so passionate, and it's so deeply intertwined in the family, and just to see you guys grow, like to see you grow, and like, to see your families grow, and, obviously, with the kids, and, the stuff and Teresa, and just to see your relationship, and, Joe and Teresa, it's just, I mean, listen.
There's a lot of content there. Jersey always comes through. I would say Jersey, and it's so passionate, right?
Always comes through, and you're also very funny. But you're like you're like Thanksgiving dinner, but every week. I don't care if it's on in the summer. I don't care if it's on in the spring. When you sit down to watch, I don't care if it's on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Monday. New Jersey Housewives is like fucking Thanksgiving dinner, and a good Thanksgiving dinner every time.
I love it. I love it. Wait, would you, and I take no offense. I take no offense to this. Would you say that we're your favorite franchise, or do you have a favorite? Like, what is your favorite that you really first of all,
I have to say Jersey, because
nice.
I have to say Jersey because, first of all, I could say New York, but New York has changed so drastically. The big three on New York, Sonia Morgan, the great Sonia Morgan.
Yes.
Obviously the Countess Luann de Lesseps, who I say her name incorrectly, and the fantastic Ramona Singer. Those are the big three of New York. But the show has changed, and who knows what's going to happen. But Jersey every single year, and also, it partially is because I'm a New Yorker, so the way you guys speak and the way you guys sound, like, it's familiar and very comfortable for me. So, I mean, you could ask me whatever you want, but, at some point I'm going to have to ask you Jersey questions. So, but
we're going to hit it. We're going to hit it.
I want you to be the lead.
Oh no, I'm going to allow you to ask me some questions as well, because I know that all my listeners are going to want to hear what you have to say. And they also want your opinion, by the way, on the show. They want to know, you're obviously watching this season, I'm assuming, as well, right?
I'm watching episodes. I watched last week's episode twice. Sometimes we just run it back.
Does your wife watch this with you? I need to know. Do you guys watch together, or is this something you do on your own time?
We definitely watch it together. She got me into it because the way I fell into the Housewives, I can't remember how many years ago this was, but I would be on a Sunday. I can't remember if it was your show or New York, but like every Sunday or Monday with football, or Thursday, like, she would be watching shows and I'd be downstairs watching football. And one day I came upstairs and I had a bad day of fantasy football, everything. No, all my teams lost. And she was like, nope, I'm not changing the channel. I go, I don't want to watch football anymore. I'll watch whatever you're watching. And I just started watching with an open mind, and I was like, who's this? What's this person? Oh wait, what are they talking about? Oh, this is funny. And then once I just gave it like a little bit of an open mind, done. Done. In. And I always say that, some people, especially like, straight dudes, they'll be like, well, you watch that shit, why do you watch? And I'm like, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, you're missing out by not watching it. So you could judge without seeing it, but basically you're losing. I'm winning by watching.
You're winning, baby. You are winning 100%. Wait, let me just tell you this too. Joe and I, whenever you're on Watch What Happens Live, which I feel like they just govern you in, like, so you're on Watch What Happens Live, maybe every 6 weeks, we got to throw Michael Rappaport in, right or wrong? I mean, you're probably their number one, like, repeated guest, I would say.
For sure.
Because you're such an opinionated guy on the Housewives, and people love that we have like this straight man's view
on the house. It's amazing, to be honest. So Joe and I, whenever you are on Watch What Happens Live, we watch, especially when it's coming off of one of our shows, right? Because we want to know what you're going to say and like your opinion, because it's like, yeah, everybody else's opinion matters, but we really want to see what Michael has to say. So it's so funny. We watch it every time you're on, and I'm going to just tell you, blown away. But you know what we said, how we said it, where the scene took place, how long the scene was. I was like, what the fuck? This guy knows everything. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I love you guys. And I love doing Watch What Happens Live. It's fun. That's another thing that just happened. You know, you say, how did, these things happen? It just happened organically. I think I tweeted something about the Housewives.
And you were involved, and the viewers loved you. It's like Chrissy Teigen. She's watching every episode. She's tweeting. She's telling us her opinions. It's
in
just
real time. I don't fuck around with if I DVR an episode and I don't watch it the day of, it's because something major is going on, or like like I sprained my ankle, or like
there's a communion, there's
something.
Bar mitzvah.
Real time. I watch in real time. Like I don't wait. Like because the show comes on now Wednesday, right?
The show's Wednesday, yeah. No, Tuesday. Yeah. I think we're on Tuesday nights. Yeah, we're on Tuesday nights. I get confused with OC and Tuesday. But like I don't like, it's on Tuesday, I'll watch it Friday. That doesn't happen. Like it's real time, and it's happening, in well,
real time.
Listen, I appreciate it. I appreciate the fan that you are of the show. Apartments.com has helped millions of renters and could help you find your perfect place. And yes, I know perfect is a tall order, but if you're looking for an apartment or a condo, townhome, or a house even, Apartments.com has the right tools to help you find it. Use filters and saved searches to narrow down rental listings and find exactly the place for you. You can even set up alerts to get notified as places become available. So fashionistas, are you listening? You can make sure you get your closet space or an in-unit washer dryer. For the sun lover, you can find as much natural light as you can handle. And for the person working from home, which so many of us are doing these days, you can have an area for your home office. Looking for an extra bedroom, a balcony, central heating and air, or just a dishwasher in the kitchen? Whatever happens to be right for you, this is the place you're going to find it. Apartments.com, the place to find a place. That's Apartments.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Luann de Lesseps. Speaking about the Real Housewives of New York, how are you feeling about this whole news they put out and the switch up? Are you insulted by it? Are you excited for the new show that they might put together? Like, what are your real feelings on this? Being a housewife, listen, I get it, and I know that it could sometimes be a little hit if they don't pick you for certain things or use you for certain things. So how do you feel?
Right. Well, my first reaction was, I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? It was like, came out of left field for me. But I understand why they're doing it. I think that, it's very hard to put, women into a group of friends where they really don't belong. Do you know what I mean? You guys are all related. You have your families, in New York, it's more about friendships and not about family. Right. Cause we're, New Yorkers and, we're business women and we're, we do fashion, we do, anyway, so I think that it's harder to find people that that are willing to do the show that fit with our group. So I think that that's a hard position to fill for the network, and I think it's a great idea for them to bring back OGs. I think people really want to see the OGs. I have a list that a laundry list of some of them I'd like to see come back, and and I think it's cool to do another spinoff, which is the younger, more diverse side of New York. I mean, listen, I've been doing this. This is going to be season 14 for me. I've been doing for a long time. So, I'm really, I'm there, if they're going to cast me on that show, I'll, it'll be fun to do with all the OGs. I don't want to be with a group of women that I can't relate to. So, and the other thing is, I've got my cabaret career, which is awesome. And I'm going on tour. And so I get to focus on that right now. And, other projects that I'm doing, like my non-alcoholic sparkling, which I love, that you, I think, tasted when we were in Turks and Caicos, which is, which got distribution on. So I'm working with Bev Max. So I'm really excited about that. And so I've got a lot of great projects going on, and, and Housewives will always be a part of me. And, and if it works, I think it's going to work really well to have an OG. Why do you think they came up with the idea, by the way, Melissa? It's based really on the success of our trip.
Of the Housewives trip, of that ultimate girls trip, you're saying.
They want to see the OGs together. You know what I mean?
Right. It was special. It was
very special. And, I even wrote a song about it. Did you hear the song? F-bombs on the G with the OGs?
Yes, I die. Wait, first of all, just so you know, we're going to get into all of the Luann stuff. I want to talk about your cabaret. I want to talk about all your music. Like, we're going to hit all of these things because I just think you're so great at like reinventing yourself and like figuring things out and using your platform for better things, which is the entrepreneur in you, to be honest, that I think people might not know about you because, they do know this about you, but you really do have a great business brain. Like, and I feel like even since I've met you years ago, it was always like a little bit of a business talk whenever I saw you. I know one time we had like a little power women business lunch at Michael's that one time with Bonnie Fuller. Yeah. Right? We did that one time. So yeah, we're going to get into all of that. But I do agree with you when it comes to like the ultimate girls trip, I think put a really good taste in their mouth about what it's like to see kind of the OGs together and the power that has. And I think especially when it comes to New York, because you ladies are I do think it's probably one of the hardest besides Jersey because you're trying to cast family.
Right.
To cast, because now say they do what the rumor is saying, which is they want to go super young, right? They want to go 30-year-olds and bring in like, young kids and this and that, which I don't know is true, but this is a rumor, right?
Right.
How are they going to mesh that life with what you guys have going on? It's not going to make sense. Like you're going to have nothing in common with these 32-year-olds with young kids. You guys are going to be like, listen, been there, done that. Yeah. Kids are older. I don't want to see a diaper for the rest of my life. And you're going to have not too much in common. Right. So there is some sense to what they're saying is like, let's take our OGs, let's do something special with them. And if we're going to have to recast, because with you guys, you can't mix Ramona in with like this new, like say she's like a 35-year-old little publicist, with little kids and a public, Ramona's just going to like go crazy. I can't even, she doesn't mesh well, right?
With like crazy eyes on them. But, the great example I think for them was this Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. And it felt like the old days of Housewives. Do you know what I mean? There was just enough drama. It was really more about women relating to each other, having fun, good old fun. It felt like the Housewives of the old days. And that's why I think that this idea came about was really that, people really loved that show and, it was very successful for them. So I think that they're using that as a model. And now they're even doing, a spinoff with, Dorinda and Jill Zarin and that whole crowd, in the Berkshires. So, I think that, they're going to keep doing more of these trips. And I think it's going to be more commonplace that you're going to see a mix of the franchise. And, you have to evolve. Listen, life is about evolution and growth. And, you just can't keep doing the same old. I mean, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think that has a life, expectancy, and, look.
I agree.
God bless Jersey and the family and all that. But, who knows what happens at the end of the day? You just never know from year to year, what's going to happen. And so I think it's a smart move on Bravo's part.
She was extremely candid with me about dealing with heartbreak while still trying to hold the family together. She's definitely one of the strongest women I know. Jana Kramer. Do you feel that he was making excuses basically for like with the whole like sex addict thing for things he was doing wrong, giving himself an excuse, and you let that go for so many years and took that in as if he needed help when I feel like you were fooled at this point?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel that for sure. And, I had someone come on our podcast and we talked about like how people in addiction, sometimes you have to like, she was basically saying with that structure, you have to be very much like, and coddle them and it's okay. Like, like just, but it's like, but us, like the victims, were kind of like, wait a minute, this is hard too. So, but there's on that side of it, it's like how they portrayed, like there is abuse, there's gaslighting, there's manipulation, but they're like, well, I can't handle it. Like I have an addiction, so it's just, that's very hard to, when that person can't tap into any empathy, like it's very hard to even have any relationship around that, because not that saying he used it as it, but it is, I'm powerless to it. It's like, okay, you're powerless to it, but can you have empathy around it?
Right. And it's also puts you in a position where you want to be a good wife, right? And you want to help someone when they're down instead of leave them. And so it prolongs the time for you to, like, when did you know it was time to let go? Like enough was enough.
So it's interesting because there's so many people, and I've asked that question, like, well, how will I know when enough is enough? And it's like, I saw this quote too that just like really stuck out for me, but they said when staying is more painful than leaving, like that's when And I remember this last go around when, I discovered more stuff. It's like time after time when I took him back, it's every time I took him back from something, it made our relationship worse. In the beginning, it made it great because he's like, I'll never do it again. You can trust me. And again, like I'm the kind of person that's like, I do believe in someone fighting the good fight. There's mishaps in the marriage and you can work through it. Like I do believe people can grow and change, but that person that did what they did has to have empathy, and the other person has to, be willing to work with them. But this, this last go around, like after so many, I will never do this. And I did, and I'll never do this. And I did again. You just come to a point where you're just like, I'm now almost 7 years in, and you're saying now the same thing I've heard every year. I'm just like, and then honestly, my best friend manager, who's also here, but she was just like, I cannot watch you stay and do this again. Like, it's just like, you have to understand that he is not going to change, at least in this relationship.
It's a circle. It just keeps going around and around. And then you end up, it's another Christmas, it's another Easter. And you're like, wow, I still feel the same way I did last Christmas. And then it circles again. It's like this birthday, I feel the same way I did. And you start to realize, like, when do I get off the ride? When is it time to jump off?
Never going to stop. And I remember what clicked for me was I went on a meeting for sex addict wives. And I'm sitting around this meeting and I see people that have been married for 40 plus years. And they're like, he did it again. And I'm like, I can't do this. No. Like I'm about to be 38. I still just can't do this. I'm like, the anxiety that I feel, and I'm just like, I just cannot do this. And then like, hearing my friends basically have an intervention with me, sitting me down, like enough. But like, we like, it was because, he blamed like the, being too hard about us sharing our story, but that's not a reason to do X, Y, and Z. So it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, they're always going to have a reason or an excuse for their behavior. And I just had to stop the cycle. And I hope that he's better in his next relationship. He won't have all and he even said, he's like, he was never probably going to stop because he was always in the wrong. Like he always had. So it's like, I'm already down.
Right.
So
he just knew that it was more of the same. Right.
Yeah. So who knows?
Well, I applaud you for doing that.
It was hard. I mean, it was like, and I think it was one of those things too, because one thing that like really frustrated him was like the day that I filed, I put on Instagram that we were separating. He's like, you couldn't even give me a second. I was like, if I did not post that immediately, I would have taken you back. Like that's like how much he was my drug. Like if I didn't put it out to the world, I would have taken him back probably like within a week or so. I would have filed, I would have done all that. And then I would have let his words seep back in. I'm like, I had to make it public or I would have let you back in because that's how much you were my drug.
I actually get that. It almost makes you like feel responsible. Like when you put it out, you're like, now there's no turning back. It's almost like when you tell your mother, like your husband cheated on you. It's like, once you tell them and tell your family, it's like, now I'm never going to go back because no one's going to allow me to go back.
I know, Melissa, like, can you imagine if I put it out there and then I went back? Like there's no way I could have done that. So like, I knew that's what I had to do.
No, I get that. That was your little way of like, making it stand, making it stick, which whatever you need to do, look, it worked, right? Besides the fact that, listen, you're in your prime. You're doing awesome. You really are. You look amazing. You're young. I don't believe in, I know a lot of people for the kids, and this is another thing, you know, they stay, and I get trying, which is what you did. And I have many girlfriends who do the same. You keep trying when your kids are toddlers and when they're young, but I don't believe in that. Like, let's wait until everyone's in high school and college and then separate, because you wasted all of those years. And there's going to be so much resentment, because when you are 45 years old, you're going to look back and say, oh my God, why didn't I do this 10 years ago? And, you know, and it's not easy to do that. I know I'm saying it like it's easy, because I know there's a lot of women out there that, you know, would love to just jump off the train right now. And it's not easy. There's always financial stuff. There's, you know, but you're very lucky, and it was ballsy to do. And I know it's not easy being a single mother. I mean, how is that? Is that been a lot different for you?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, and I thought about this too. I told my one girlfriend, Sarah, I was like, you know what? I was like, what if I just turn a blind eye? Let him do whatever he wants to do. That's why we stay as a family. It's fine. Like, I've got the kids together. I mean, the kids, you know, and she was just like, she's like, do you want your kids to feel that energy that you have around him? Do you want your kids to, like, because they're going to see it. They're going to see it all over your face. Like, you can't pretend. And that's when I was like, okay, you're right. But I think in the beginning, it was really hard because I was so angry. And it's like and my son, like, he, you know, bless, he still has really hard days on transition days. Like, he'll scream daddy, and I want to just fire off and be like, you did this, you know what I mean? Like, you separate our family. Now I have to witness my poor son so upset when, you know, when we separate, or when, you know, when he comes back from your house. And it's like, so that part's really hard, because, you know, they ask questions like, you know, mommy, why can't you live at daddy's? And I'm like, well, you know, like, we're just better off as friends. So I think that piece is hard. But that's the only piece that's hard, because besides that, like, I'm a happier mom.
What's up, guys? Let me tell you about Butcherbox. Butcherbox is a subscription service that delivers high-quality meat and seafood right to your doorstep. Choose from a carefully curated selection of 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. And right now, new subscribers can receive a free grilling bundle in their first order. Every month, ButcherBox ships a curated selection of high-quality meat right to your home. There's no antibiotics or added hormones. Everything is packed fresh and shipped frozen for convenience, which is huge for me because I'm running around all day long and I don't have time to pick through the hit or miss meat at the grocery store. And you have options. You can customize your own box or go with one of theirs. Either way, you get exactly what you want. This is all for an unbeatable value, less than $6 per meal on average. That's crazy. Kick off grilling season right with ButcherBox. Sign up at butcherbox.com/Gorga to receive a free grilling bundle in your first order. You'll get 2 10-ounce ribeyes, 5 pounds of chicken drumsticks, and a pack of burgers for free. That's butcherbox.com/Gorga to claim this deal. And now here's a clip from my chat with Kyle Richards. You saw firsthand, honestly, like what it was like for Teresa and I, just to get into it, even for 5 minutes, and like the tension that can start, and just the way that it can kind of, something about family, like it's the old feelings always come back. Like we hold a grudge, I think, a little bit longer.
Them in a completely different way too, which is also like a different situation. Like, you know them too well, you know?
Yes. You know them too well. And it's almost like we hate that. We're like, we hate that there's someone there that can like be like, no. We know about this. We know about that. You know
like, them too well. They know you too well. It's just a completely different situation.
Yeah, it gets a little tricky. But I always say, like, it's one of the hardest things. And I don't really think anyone really gets that besides you and your sisters and, you know, Joe Gorga and Teresa. And I think that we're all very similar, and we're all very like tight with family. Like, you are so great talking about family. You have 4 beautiful daughters, right? You have Mauricio, who is another, which I kind of understand this, which, listen, you and Mauricio are so much fun. And Joe and I love you guys. We have a great time whenever we're like at dinner with you guys. I feel like our men have really great personalities and they're a little bit more forefront.
They're good guys.
They are. They're good guys. They're family guys. They're all about their wives and their kids, which, God bless them. They really are. They're awesome that way. But it gets rough sometimes, no, when you have like this handsome husband and girls are, and I know you and I have talked about this before, but girls, they get a lot of fans. They have their own fans. They have their own DMs going on from random women around the world. And like, they have their own little fan base of women who kind of think they're good looking, right? And they will literally tell you right to your face, or they'll tell them right to their face. I mean, how do you handle that? Does it get rough for you sometimes?
In the beginning, it was so funny because to me, when I met my husband, he was just a nice Jewish guy, and, I just was like, I, of course, thought he was so handsome. But then when we started the show and then they started doing these polls and I was like, everybody get lost. Like, this is my little best kept secret, but we laugh about it now. But of course, there's been times we're like, he never knew how to work his Instagram. So he'd be like, how do you post this? How do you look at this? So now actually my daughter helps him run his Instagram. But, so I remember once I was like looking through his phone and how we get the DMs, but like when you have a lot of followers, like they get lost in the +99 requests or something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I look at this and it's like, hey, if you're ever in whatever area, let's hook up. You're hot. And I was like, I will effing kill you. And I started finding myself getting in a bad mood, but I didn't want to like mad at him, but he didn't even know about the DM.
And you're like, you wanted to give him an attitude.
Yeah, but he's like, doesn't even know that they exist. And I was like, delete, block, delete, block, delete, block. But he doesn't even know. And I'm finding myself getting so worked up. So then, but that was a while ago. Now I just kind of laugh, whatever, You
just like laugh it off. But I will say in the beginning, it is definitely rougher. I didn't know how to handle it in the beginning. And I was like insulted that these women would actually take the time to like write this little message to him. And they would say to him, like, even now he's doing like some comedy shows and they'll be like, when you're in Boston, stop by here.
Yeah.
I'm the waitress. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I will literally cut you.
Like
the funny
you and
thing
I are
is
similar like that. Like we are very like a good jealous. I call that a good jealous.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I don't like feeling like that, but I am like that. And my husband, he just thinks I'm, ridiculous and funny, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't get those DMs. I mean, I am like, so like, I don't know. I just don't get those kind of DMs. When I do, I'm like, oh my God, look at this. So upsetting. This person.
This person wants to tell me how
gorgeous
I am.
This handsome man who's flirting with me. I can't believe this. It literally never happens.
Like, why is this happening to me right now? Look at this, Mauricio. They want to suck my toes. They always write something crazy. Like they want to suck your toes or something. I'm like, what?
I haven't had that one either.
I've had a suck your toes moment once or twice. I'm not going to lie. Just touching a little bit on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because I know the Bravo gods are listening and I know how this all works. You just got done filming, correct? You're done. You guys are done.
Done with primary shooting. We still have the dreaded interviews for months.
I am still, first of all, we are on air. Just so you know, we're on air tonight. We're on air right now. Okay. I am still doing interviews that are getting put into the episodes like in 5 minutes. Like literally,
it's my least favorite thing to do.
The torture of it's only now, they used to do us for 6 hours straight. Now they only give us like a 3-hour interview, which I can handle. I could never handle the 6-hour interviews, but the 3-hour I can handle, I
mean, we go from morning till night and you're just like, oh, I don't
rehashing.
I'm like, wait, what exactly? Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. I was really mad about that.
Because it's like you rehash and I don't even want to. Yeah. Once I've been there and done it, I'm like, I don't even want to talk about this bish again. I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Is your season good? What do you feel when you're done? What kind of season you have. Do you have like, what kind of season is it?
Well, did you hear Andy said that it's the best first episode he'd ever seen and he cried?
Oh, no. I did not hear that.
Yes. So that was pretty telling. I'm hearing really incredible things, from episodes that are already being put together now for the premiere. And just obviously living it. I think the audience is not going to be disappointed.
And now, because you know he would go on all day long, a little clip from my interview with Joe Gorga.
I was in mode, so I go back and I start chopping at this dirt with the pick. I'm working, and I guess my phone. And when I work and I lift, if I lift weights, I grunt a lot. And
he is a grunter. I will give you that. Like when he's in the gym, he's embarrassed. He's that guy that everyone looks at. Like, look at this loser. Like,
yeah,
he's
okay.
like you are. You're like
look
embarrassing in the gym. Yeah, you're like an overachiever. One of those guys that's like, oh,
yeah.
And
what
you're
happens?
Like, shut up,
yeah,
loser.
Listen,
like, work out of your own basement.
Yeah,
if
but
you're
now
be so dramatic.
But now my wife works out hard, and what does she do?
No, I don't. I don't do that.
Yes,
I don't
you do.
That.
I'm
no,
gonna video
I am not
them
a
next
grunter.
time. I'm gonna video
I get
next time.
embarrassed of grunters.
You do. You grunt. You do.
Oh my god!
And I laugh at you.
This
now.
is a public service announcement. Don't grunt in the gym. It's weird.
Who cares?
Only like a little grunt here and there. But
listen,
I hate the guys in the corner. Like,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the amount of weight you lift. It's the grunt.
Okay, let's get back to the story because now you're making me anxious, and I'm gonna have to tell my side of this.
I'm hitting this dirt. I'm chopping it up. I'm making these noises. My phone rings. Calls her on accident.
Yeah. So, okay, let me tell a story. Let me tell you this part. I'm calling Joe. He's not answering. It's 8:30 on Sunday morning. He's not answering. I call probably 2 times in a row. Not answering. Well, I guess eventually his phone picks up by itself in his pocket, and Joe is sitting there, and he says that he has a shovel or some kind of like rake shovel thing, and he is
called
a pick. Okay. He's banging the dirt.
Which is the dirt was like concrete because it was frozen.
Supposedly.
She's hearing the bang.
But he's also speaking during this.
And she's
everyone.
hearing me.
And I guess, so Joe says, his phone in his pocket is really ruffling up, and I'm hearing...
No, not.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I am. I am hearing the moans. I heard the word. I heard the D word. I don't want to say in what aspect. I don't know how I heard it, but I heard that
Yeah,
word.
I was probably swearing. Well, here's what I was doing.
You were swearing?
I was mad at my sister, so I was chopping at the dirt, and I'm like, fuck, dick. I was saying words, which wasn't nice. So then my wife calls me back. She keeps calling me. My hands are full of dirt. I finally answer the phone.
I think we got to go. I think we got to go to me on the other end first. Thanks. Okay. So as he has no idea what's going on, and I listen to him grunting, moaning. I swear I hear a woman saying he's not answering the phone, saying the word, like, I think I heard the word, the D word. And
you could say it.
Yeah, I heard you say dick.
Right.
So I'm hearing that. This is me, Melissa Gorga, never experienced Joe cheating on me before, never had any issues with that. I hear it clear as day. I hear the moans. I hear the ruffling, whatever it is in his pocket, of the movement, everything. I literally, this is me in my bedroom. I'll never forget it to this day in my pajamas. I fall to my knees, literally fall to my knees. My hands start shaking. I can't believe it's all happening. I can't believe it's happening. I literally lose my mind. I'm shaking. So now I'm speed dialing his phone to try to break up the sex that I think that he's having. So I'm speed dialing.
She FaceTimed me.
No. He answers. He finally answers. I am now screaming into the phone, shaking, crying hysterically. How could you do it? I can hear you. And I'm on the floor. I'll never forget Antonia walking in my room. And she's like, Mom, just go. I'll be right out. I'm on my knees on the floor crying to Joe. And he's like, what? He's mad. He doesn't react nice. Like, honey, no, I would never. He's like, shut the hell up. What the frig is wrong with you? What do you say? I was like, Joe, I heard you. I can hear you. I was sobbing.
You want me to be nice that I leave 5 o'clock in the morning? Hold on. I leave 4:30 in the morning. I'm busting my ass. I'm chopping dirt to get this house sold to make money for us. And here you are accusing me of having
sex. That's your side. I let you have your side.
You want me to be nice?
Okay, but I'm giving my side.
Keep going now, guys.
So now he's mad. And to me, when a man is caught, what they do is they get crazy and they get nastier. Yes. Yeah, and they're like, you know what? F you crazy bitch. I'm out here working. What the fuck? And he hangs up on me and I'm sobbing on the floor. And I'm like, oh my God, when they get caught, I feel like they get nasty. If he wasn't, he'd be like, honey, he'd start laughing at, what are you crazy, babe? No. You want to put the icing? Hold on. Want to put the icing on the cake? Now I'm like, holy shit, he hung up on me. Now I'm going to FaceTime him. I hit the FaceTime. He doesn't answer the FaceTime.
Because I'm rolling outside.
Now I'm completely convinced
I answered
that what I heard is true.
No, she called me 6,000. I answered the FaceTime.
No, you didn't answer the FaceTime. It took you know when you answered the FaceTime? When you got back in your truck and maybe sent the girl home. Who the hell knows?
Oh, I was in the middle of the street banging a girl in my truck. No, it's called when you're working and you're laying sod. If anyone knows that you're laying sod, your hands are full of mud. So I couldn't answer the phone. So finally, let's clarify. Hold on, let me clarify one more thing.
Let me just ask,
can I clarify one more thing?
I'm sure there's a lot of girls out there, if you're listening, I'm sure there's a lot of you who have felt this way before, right?
Course.
Has anyone ever felt this way before where they feel convinced that they know or they're coming to conclusions? You're speed dialing. You're going crazy. You need to hear their voice. You need to get them on the phone. I know I'm not the only girl out there who's dealt with this before.
But let me clarify this. You've accused, I leave early in the morning and she'll get up at 7:30, 8 o'clock and she'll call me and I'm working so hard. And she's like, what are you doing? I go, working. Maybe I'm married to everything. And I'm like, I'm working. She's like, well, who you with this morning? I'm like, who you banging? I go, wait. When you did this, I hung up the phone on you because I'm like, oh my God, here we go again.
All right, but I want to get back to just this subject.
That's your insecurities
for a second.
from growing up, right?
Yes, but hold on. I want to get back to
this
story.
Get back to the subject.
Because you don't have a lot of time. So,
well,
you don't.
I know.
Okay, so getting back to it. I'm freaking out. I'm calling him. He's not answering the FaceTime. So to make a long story short, I then go ahead and tell him not to come home. I'm freaking out. I absolutely 100% don't believe. He's like, I'm working. What are you talking about? My phone's in my pocket. You swore you were shoveling. You were cursing out loud because you were in a bad mood. You had an argument with your sister earlier. You were cursing out loud. And I was hearing all of these words and this grunting because your phone was in your pocket and you were digging into frozen ground, right? That's your story and sticking to it, Joe Gorga?
Yes.
Okay. So to make a long story short, I literally don't believe him. I am convinced on what I heard. It was my own ears, my own eyes. It wasn't like a girlfriend or someone coming to me saying, hey, we heard something. And I tell him not to come home. My mother, my sister, you could tell the story of when you.
So listen, she tells me not to come home. I ignore her. I'm like, she's crazy. I continue to work. I guess an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours later, I drive home. I come home and guess what? Her mother and her sister are there, and they're from down the shore. It takes an hour and a half to get there. She called them. Oh, my God. They come running up. I open the door, and my sister-in-law looks at me like I'm the devil. She goes, oh, I can't believe you. I said, what?
And mind you, my sister and my mother die for Joe.
They love me.
They're always Team Joe.
They love me, but and then the mom, all of a sudden, she goes, Joe, I cannot believe. I go, are you?
The mom.
I go, are you kidding me? I was so aggravated. I was so
Come on, guys.
mad.
Let's be honest. Ladies, everyone, your parents, your sister, the fam always takes our side.
Yeah.
If you're cheating, they're always going to take our side.
So mad at them. But see, they just their father was a cheater, and right?
Well,
it's
yeah,
okay. Their father was a player, which is I never met.
I did grow up with my father did stray a lot.
Right. He was one of those guys. He was a player. He was a cool guy, whatever. I never met him because he passed away. So they're kind of like, okay, you cheated. They want to hang you, the family, right? I wasn't even cheating. So I came and I was so shocked. And my mom, especially with my mother-in-law, she's like, I can't believe you. So then I'm like, all right. So then I walk outside. I go take a shower because I'm full of mud. I go, what do I do? What do I do? Just roll in the mud? So I go take a shower. I come back down.
Basically, I tell him to sleep out that night. I didn't want him to sleep home.
I come down the stairs. She's laying on the couch, on the floor crying.
My mother gave me a Xanax.
The mother, they gave it. It was a disaster. I go upstairs. It ruined the entire day.
Was it worth it, Joe? Whatever you were doing that morning, was it worth it?
So then the next day I go to work. I leave in the morning. She calls again, crying. The mother's there again. And then I'm figuring out. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this is serious. It took a minute.
I truly believe
it was like a day and a half, and I finally said, like, what? Am I going to get divorced over this? I got to work, and he thinks that I'm cheating. And then she goes like this, I set it up, and I'm going to call.
No, that's not what happened. So now he goes and I don't let him sleep home that night. He doesn't sleep home that night. He goes to work the next day. Either you didn't sleep home or you slept on the couch home. And I slept in the bed.
Yeah.
Yes. And we didn't speak.
Yeah.
And then he goes to work the next day and I call him and I say, okay, you're not coming home tonight. Until you prove this to me, because I heard what I heard and I don't believe you. And this is where the lie detector test comes in. I set up a lie detector test. And I said, meet me at, hold on. I said, meet me at such and such address at 2 p.m. You're going to take a lie detector test. And if you pass it, good for you. And if you don't, you're not coming home.
Hey guys, I'm Sam. And I'm Taylor. We were just internet strangers who moved across the country to become roommates.
And now we host the F Word podcast.
Right here on Podcast One.
Our podcast is Fitness Uncensored.
Listen in every Friday for all things fitness, health, and lifestyle.
Think of it like FaceTiming your two best friends,
while also learning how to become your strongest, most confident self.
Join the community by tuning in and following us on Instagram
at F-Word_podcast.
Listen and follow the F Word podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. See you on Friday.
Guys, she poured her heart out to me, and she is one of the most honest people I have ever met. Here's a clip from my interview with Lala Kent. Love her. But anyway, for Vanderpump, how was this season? Was it crazy?
It was. Can I tell you, it's very hard for me to watch this season, just with everything that has now happened in my life and things that I now know. To watch back, I mean, a lot of my comments didn't age well. And I always say I'm okay with that because I was just in the dark. Right. And how I could be living in the dark and sleeping next to someone who I don't even know.
Oh, I just got the chills. Literally.
I know. I think about this daily and how, I don't even know him. And with what I do know, to be honest, I don't want to know him.
Right. I mean, life. It's like one of those things where that is scary. It's like you can be standing next to someone, sleeping next to someone and not even know who you're dealing with. And that has to be one of the scariest things in the world, to be honest. Like my heart goes out to you for all of that and everything that's going on. Cause that's scary. I mean, how are you dealing with that mentally? Are you, you're doing well. I mean, you're here, you look great. You're alive. You have that baby. So it's like it's hard, right? It's hard. Like, cause there's a lot of people that go through this sort of thing in life and, a bomb gets dropped on them. And it's like, how do you pick yourself back up and say like, no, there's a lot of life left. We're going to become brand new.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No pun intended. We're gonna brand new. We're gonna come out with a fashion line. We're gonna just do this. Like that's my girl. That's what I like. You just pick yourself up and you make the best of it, and that's awesome. Right. Like how you're handling it is amazing.
Well, thank you. I think I love that you asked this question because my 8-month-old doesn't care if bombs are dropped in my lap. Right. I have to support her. I'm a single mom now and I have to work. I have bills to pay. I have, things to pay for. And, I feel like I wake up and I wonder, give me 1 sec.
Oh my God. I want to hug you. I want to reach out and hug you right now. Oh, You're being so strong. You really are.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I know how hard this
is. It's totally fine. I wonder often where I'm getting strength from. And obviously I see my daughter and I know exactly where my strength is coming from. But I'd be lying to you if I said that this whole experience has been traumatizing and it haunts me daily,
I'm sure.
Just how I could feel so safe with someone and to have a conversation about starting a family and him knowing the life that he was living behind my back and him make me feel safe enough to bring this beautiful, innocent life into the world is hard. It haunts me, like I said, daily. And you can relate to this. You sometimes hit a certain point where you have to hand it over to God. There's no person in the world who's going to make this okay, and you need a higher power. And my relationship with my higher power and the universe right now is extremely profound, and I'm grateful for it, because when it becomes too much, I mean, I'm telling you, God takes over. I sleep well at night.
You're preaching to the choir, because that is exactly what I would tell you all day long. There's times when I have just driven to a church in my weakest moments when I'm sobbing over things that you wouldn't even believe. And I just sit there and I talk, and I leave there feeling a sense of relief. Right. I truly believe that when you're at your worst, that's the best route to go. So I'm personally so happy to hear that that's what you're doing, because the truth is, let go and let God. Right. I've always said that. And I love that that's what's getting you through. And to be honest, there's no one, I don't believe there's anything else that will get you through besides that and your beautiful daughter.
I think so too. And I don't talk about God much. I mean, I grew up always, saying prayers in bed with my dad and my little brother. So it was, God was big in my family, but, I just feel like it doesn't need to be spoken about, because everyone has their own belief, and I don't want to push mine on you. But in times like this, and people are asking me what's getting you through, that is it. Because I always say God won't take you to what he can't take you through. And
of course,
here I am still standing, and I don't even know how it's happening. So that's,
and a little advice for me. I'm a little older than you. You are young. You are still young. I love that you have that work ethic. You really are. You're like on the move. You're not going to sit down. We all have to cry, right? We all go through things where, we feel like the world is ending, and it's emotional because you have this beautiful baby that you want to feel all the joy. A 9-month-old baby, they make us laugh. They're like, it's the best age. It's like incredible. And then you have this other part that's bringing sadness that you almost feel is like taking that joy away from you. And that's where you need to fight it and just keep getting up every morning, keep doing what you're doing, keep going to work. I mean, the fact that you are a mom in business, right? And you have all these platforms and this opportunity, and you're a strong girl. You're known to be, a bull, like you're not a passive person. And that is what your daughter's going to see. She's going to know one day. I'm sure she'll hear it one day. Not that you want her to, but you never know. One day she might, and she's going to know how you got her through that and how strong you were and all of your brands and everything that you've created during that time, and how you didn't fall down.
I know exactly what you're saying. Every move that I make since I found out I was having her she's the first thought in my mind. And you can relate. Again, you have children. So everything I do is for Ocean. And I'll be damned if what someone else has caused is going to affect my daughter and her happiness. Even though she's young, I'm big on energy, and I'm not bringing it around her. I have to put on a smile and a happy face, because this moment is fleeting. She's not going to ever be this age ever again. And never. No one is going to take away from me relishing in these moments.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will talk to you all next week with another new episode. Take care and brush your hair.
Sure, we have 30 seconds to tell you that drivers who switch to Progressive could save big. But then what? Well, there is a nice piece of stock music playing behind me that a talented composer worked really hard on. So let's enjoy it. Wow, almost overshadows the saving big when you switch to Progressive part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.